This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine. You better have those seatbelts fastened because we have quite a ride today. And I'm Les Jackson, of course. That guy there is Fred Staab. He's got a pile of papers. I don't even think we could read them within the next couple hours, but we'll try. Anyway, big doings.
Yeah, big doings, Les Jackson, and we're going to get into it on our first show of the year. And Ford tops the sales scales for sports car and trucks and commercial segments, but will rollaway F-150s put a damper on all of its success? Well, we'll find out.
I have a feeling it might. And Kia has another plan for stopping the theft of some of the models. You're probably well aware that some of the models, some nasty people put ways of getting into the ignitions online. That seems to me that should be criminally charged.
Yeah, although it's quite the opposite. They're charging Kia, but that's a whole other story. But let's talk about the Genesis G70 Sporty sedan. It's out, and we have some pricing information, Les Jackson. So we'll share that with our audience, won't we?
That's right. If the audience would like to chip in and buy me a Genesis, I'll give you my address. Anyway, we're going to talk tech. And this time, the science Mazda is using to make its already stunning soul red crystal color. Boy, that's spectacular. Even better. And man, it's not like a candy apple, but it's sort of the modern equivalent.
Oh yeah, it almost looks like you dipped the vehicle in paint. It's cool, don't you think?
Yeah, it's almost like you dipped it in a big vat of paint.
Yep,
that thick.
Yeah, and then this is one we were discussing earlier. Stellantis says no to shows, no more car shows. You won't be seeing anything from Stellantis at any car show this year.
That's right, and the DC car show is 2 weeks away, and this is the first we've heard about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how it is, and then you have an At the Wheel review, the first of the year.
That's right.
The new Buick, right?
Yeah, Buick Encore GX. Pretty cool outside. It almost has that undercut shark face. Reminded me a little bit of the Aston Martin, believe it or not, but it's not at Aston Martin pricing. When we come back, we'll have a full At the Wheel review of this ST model. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. We will be right back. So stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It is Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We are here ready to go with plenty of information. And top of the heap for Ford, Les Jackson. They scored big in sports car sales, trucks, and commercial vehicles. That's for 2023. They have done very well. Ford Mustang has outsold every other sports car offered in the U.S., not just the Dodge Challenger and Chevy Camaro, but also even the Mazda MX-5 Miata and Toyota Supra.
Biggest selling sports car of all time, a single model. And the Mustang is 61 years old. I just love this.
And 48,605 Mustangs were sold in 2023. Doesn't sound like a huge number, but
Well, no.
it's the lead for that segment, right?
Well, it is, and it doesn't sound like a big number, but remember there are about 300 different makes and models you could buy right now. So getting 48,000 of them is pretty good.
They also sold 31 Ford GT supercars. That does not include 67 800 horsepower GT Mark IV track toy model, which sounds fun. And that, my friend, is a future collectible for sure, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, it's already a collectible. It's not even the future.
Yeah. So let's jump over to trucks for Ford. F-Series, still the best-selling truck in this country for many, many years, going on 50 years, I guess, right?
Yeah.
750,789 F-Series trucks were sold last year. And F-150 Lightning became the best-selling electric truck of the year. And nobody sold more EVs in America than Ford. Besides Tesla, Ford was number 2 as far as electric vehicles go.
And the hybrid was the second best-selling hybrid, the hybrid F-150.
Oh yeah, which makes sense.
Commercial vehicles, you see them everywhere. I mean, if it isn't a Ford, it's a Mercedes.
Yeah,
I don't see any other brand.
That's true. Transit vans, F-250, 350, all the way up to F-600. They're on everything. Every fleet seems to have a Ford vehicle. So that's good news. That's the good news. But then comes a potential rollaway recall. And December 2023, this was a piece published by CarBuzz on how Ford issued more recalls than any other manufacturers for the third year in the row. I guess if you sell more vehicles, you got more recalls, potentially. But there is a rollaway problem on certain F-150s. And it could affect 112,965 of the 2021 to 2023 F-150s for a rear axle bolt that may break. And it only involves the heavy-duty rear axle with the heavy-duty well, it's a special axle and a special trailering package that has caused this. So the rear axle hub bolt may fatigue, resulting in damage to the axle hub splines. And if your truck is one of those models affected, you will hear a clicking or rattling noise coming from the axle. Yeah, and there's going to be an interim repair. They don't say what that is.
Well, that's right, but then they also have the Fusion and the Lincoln MKZ for potential front brake failure. Now that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good. But they seem to be getting through it. And another big, you made a point about this earlier on, is Kia, the Kia theft deterrent, right? And it came from TikTok. We won't even mention the group of individuals that are doing this, but that people could break into some of the Kia vehicles easily. There was a fix for it. And then cities started suing Kia because people were stealing their cars. Seems misplaced to me, but there's a new theft deterrent device if you own one of these vehicles, and we will tell you about it when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. We will be right back, so stay tuned.
Cruise Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Boy, oh boy, there's just so much going on in the automotive world, and we promised to tell you about Kia and their ongoing, but mostly solved, theft problem. And basically, what they've announced right actually the very end of December, they announced they have a new device to keep thieves from getting into their lock, actually to breaking their ignition cylinder body. And it's for people that are not eligible for the security software upgrade that they introduced earlier in 2023. And it basically, you need probably special tools or explosives to get through the ignition lock, which is great. But as Fred and I alluded to earlier, what about the people that gave everybody instructions on how to steal the Kias?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Or what about people you catch doing this and, hey, this is this is illegal. You're doing something illegal. So if they cut their hand when they're breaking into the car, are we going to, sue the owner because this person cut their hand because they smashed the glass?
Dealers. By the way, dealers have installed close to 940,000 software upgrades on the Kias. So,
and they do put a little sticker on it. Actually, we have a friend that has a Sorrento that this was done, and it says this has been modified, so you can't steal it. Basically,
you know me, Fred, and you know me in my workshop. If I had a Kia, I would have installed basically a rodent trap. So when they touch it, it cuts their fingers off probably. But
then you would be.
I believe in swift punishment.
Yeah, and but to me, when you sue Kia for that, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
First off, the only person that I think could sue for that would be if someone said, "Well, that's a defective car," but it's not a defective car because it's
no.
You're not supposed to be digging around with a screwdriver.
That's right. Sue TikTok for putting it up and not taking it down.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other thing. I'm not a fan of TikTok, so.
But you have to break into the car to get to the ignition.
Yeah, exactly.
So the car is locked.
Exactly.
Anyway.
But if you have one of the vehicles, I think they are 2011 Sportages, 2011 to 2016 Fortes, 2010 to 2022 Soul, 2011 to 2021 Rio, and 2014 Sedona. You'll probably be getting contacted by Kia to get this. I guess it's like a collar, a metal collar of some kind.
I think so.
Yeah. So it's very annoying. It's certainly annoying. But here, this is not annoying. Let's talk about Genesis. They priced out their 2014 G70 Sports sedan. It's a sedan, Les.
It's a car. Look at that. You can just slide in. You don't have to pull yourself up.
Yeah. It's an award-winning 2014 G70 Sports sedan. So it is newly enhanced. You would like that, right? To just say Les Jackson, newly enhanced.
I like new enhancements. They're sporty. They have very great ride characteristics, even though they're sporty.
Yep. So according to their chief operating officer, the standard 300 horsepower and high-performance Brembo brakes offer an even more dynamic driving experience, while the refreshed interior cabin provides a heightened sense of serenity. Boy, the writing is getting amazing. I actually was reading something this morning that talked about active lifestylers. And
Listen, I live for that, as you know.
So there are two powertrains offered in the G70 for 2024 in the North American market: a 2.5 turbocharged inline four-cylinder gas engine and a 3.3 liter twin turbocharged V6. The 2.5T starts at $41,500 and comes with many things, including Genesis Highway Driving Assist and driver assistance features, a touch-type climate control display, and frameless rear-view mirror. They've made designs and updates to multifunction switches, door and console panels, patterns, air vents, cup holders, and the key fob. So there you go. You get a new key fob. The 3.3 turbocharged has an MSRP of $49,950. Includes things like rain-sensing wipers, ventilated front seats, Lexicon premium audio, and a dark chrome grille. So this is certainly their Model 3 killer, isn't it?
It is. It's, by the way, I counted them. It's 42 standard features.
That's a lot of standard stuff.
That's a lot of stuff.
And that
good stuff.
A lot of good stuff. That 2.5 liter inline four puts out 300 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, and flows through an 8-speed automatic, which is amazing. And there's standard all-wheel drive model 2.5T, $43,600. And sports prestige model option group, you can get it on all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, adds $4,200. Sport aluminum trim, wide sunroof, parking distance warning, ventilated front seats, the premium audio, alloy pedals. And then if you step up to the 3.3 liter sport advanced rear-wheel drive, MSRP $49,950. The all-wheel drive models $52,050. And then with the prestige option, you would add another $4,400. That gives you things like Napa leather, a microfiber suede headliner, heads-up display, limited slip diff, heated steering wheel, and a number of other options. Then you can take that same package and add it to the 3.3 all-wheel drive model for another $4,400. So you're pretty much almost up to like $56,000 for the top of the range model. Beautiful car though. Even that 4-cylinder with 300 horsepower. I mean that's pretty stout, you know.
It is, and Genesis is such a fine machine. If you've never driven one, you should take the opportunity and drive one.
By the way, someone was asking how much horsepower does that twin turbo make, the 3.3 liter twin turbo V6. 365 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque. And that is a nice one. I look forward to doing an at-the-wheel review of that vehicle soon. How about you?
I would just love to. It's I just love being in them. It's my favorite brand. Certainly favorite of all of their cars and SUVs. They're great.
Yeah, they absolutely are. I've said often that they've kind of hit them out of the park, hit it out of the park continuously. So it's great stuff in the Genesis, and we'll be talking about Genesis vehicles and a whole lot of other vehicles coming up when we continue on Cruise Control. Hey, auto shows in trouble? Well, Stellantis says no more auto shows for us. We're also going to have an at-the-wheel vehicle coming up, the Buick Encore GX, and we'll talk about paint tech. So it's all coming up on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We just this is such great fun to talk about, and it's cool technology. Mazda's red color, which currently is called what is that color?
Soul red. Yeah.
Soul red crystal. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
It's like
Everybody
candy
loves it.
appy red, right?
It's but not quite. And Mazda is they've noticed that people love the color, so they've gone several steps more and gone to chemists and paint engineers to come up with a new patent for a new color red that um, and basically optical physics is my background, so I do understand this, but to explain would take the rest of our hour, and you'll fall asleep anyway. So, but the fact is, it plays with the way light is absorbed and reflected, and it ultimately comes up with this spectral reflectance that you've never seen before in a car paint. So they've last year they introduced artisan red,
Kind of a more
which is
maroonish almost.
right, but richer, deeper shade than Soul Crystal. But this new color is just going to be eye popping, and it's we as we said at the beginning of the show, it looks like it was dipped in red plastic.
Yeah.
Uh, there's just no way to describe it without looking at it, or it looks like you could eat it.
Yeah. Now, is this what Dave Kindig, the car customizer, says? He calls it flop and paint, where it changes color as you walk around, and
Right. Part of that, and it has to do with layers upon layers and the way the layers have been laid down, and where the different metallics, the direction the different metallics are going, are moving,
wow.
or have moved. And I mean, it is. You don't want to scratch this because
No, no.
you
It's
may as well
almost
just throw it away.
it's almost like a custom paint job from the factory.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, as you said, we were talking candy apple red. It that's what I immediately thought. But I've seen some of these vehicles in the sun, and it just really draws your eye. You know, it really
It's
does.
amazing.
Yeah. And it's funny, they're on big SUVs, kind of bread and butter vehicles. And
Yeah. I'd
yeah,
rather see it on an Aston Martin, but
yeah,
who am I to
Corvette.
tell
It
them?
would look nice on a Corvette, wouldn't it?
Corvette.
Yeah. So,
It would
yeah.
look nice on the car that our friend Glenn and I are building next.
Which one is that? I know you did a Corvair. I know you did a Corvette,
Yep.
a mid-year.
We're building an original narrow body 289 Cobra.
Oh my! Well, that would look nice on that.
Oh yeah.
That would look nice on that. And I often said that there are so many great factory colors now that, if you said, okay, I'm building a street rod or something like that, you don't have to go to a custom paint shop. I just look
Yeah.
at and you can get the paint because it's a factory color, right?
That's right. You can get it.
So pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. I love the science behind it. And I did learn, I know, especially with metallic paints, if you, from our mutual friend Kevin Tates, if you put them on the wrong way, hold the gun the wrong way, you'll get like
Oh, yeah.
tiger striping. So basically what they're doing
Exactly right.
here is they are controlling the angle at how the paint is applied to take advantage of that, as opposed to just poorly applying metallic paint and getting stripes.
I think they're just dipping the the car in a big vat of paint.
Yeah, just like an apple, like
Yeah.
an apple. You dip it in there, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
It's like burgundy cherry. Man, it's just Beautiful.
It does look like you could eat it. Yes, it does look like you could eat it. So, well, let's
Yeah.
talk about Stellantis. And you and I have noticed this trend of car companies pulling out of shows. When we first started doing this, everyone, Les and I would go to these shows, and there would be huge reveals on press day. I mean,
Huge.
theatrical, cars driving through glass plates or being covered in
That's
mud, right? Remember those?
Oh yes, well the intro of the Ford and Mercury mid-size cars back in the early '90s drove through a huge glass plate the size of the stage.
Yeah.
And well, we've seen some incredible reveals and expensive events where they've brought 300 journalists to New York or Detroit or LA and big parties. I mean, and they're just not doing that.
No.
They don't
no.
need to anymore.
Well, the problem with it for automotive journalists like ourselves was they would cram all these great press reveals in, and you want to see them all, but you really couldn't shoot any video or do any interviews because you had to get to the next one. So you felt like you're just running around like a chicken with no head. And
we were literally running to
Yeah.
the next review at about 20 reviews each day and
Yeah.
2 to 3 days of that.
yeah, and so they thought, well, hey, there's this thing called the internet, and we can just release it and do it or put it somewhere else. They started doing these things off-site. So that's one use of the car shows. And then, of course, the public would come in, and they wouldn't see those extravagant reveals, but they see the cars. And that's the purpose of this, to see a bunch of vehicles, try them out, and then kind of narrow down with what you want to focus in on, right? But it seems like car shows are getting smaller. I mean, Stellantis backed out of SEMA, backed out of the LA. I mean, they used to do a huge presentation at SEMA. They would have a huge area, bring in celebrities and show custom cars and have giant displays. But they've backed out of all that, and they're just not going to do any. They're pulling out of all shows in Canada and U.S. You're actually involved with one in the D.C. area, and you said you've got 3 weeks to go, and they pulled out, which is huge.
I already wrote the Stellantis products section of the of DC Auto Show program guide, like I do every year, and they're going to. I do believe they've got local dealers to provide product, but yeah, surprise, they're not going to have Camp Jeep.
Yeah, Camp Jeep.
Not going to have a representative. It's just enjoy the show.
Camp Jeep was one of the big draws. I know
it was
in New York.
huge draw.
If you've never done it, they would have all kinds of obstacles the Jeeps could drive over, and you could try them out.
A mountain about 50 feet high,
right
in the convention center, and you'd drive over it with their drivers.
Yeah, and interactive.
Incredible.
Yeah, but that costs money, and they're just not going to do it. And it just, I don't know. We'll see where this goes. It's really, I think the show is for what I said. It's for people to see the cars in a kind of a limited pressure environment, and kind of sit in them and see, get an initial feeling about, hey, I like this one. I like that one. Okay, I'm going to narrow it down to 2 or 3 vehicles and then start looking, But the worst would be if you go there and you're interested in Dodge products and they're not there.
Well,
that will help with your decision, right?
That'll certainly help with your decision. And, we have at this show, we have VIP tour guides. I started that a number of years ago, and we take people around and explain the cars to them, explain the technology, and they pay money for that. And it started last year when none of the German companies showed.
Right.
And people say, "Well, wait a minute, where are they?" Well, they didn't show.
Then they yelled at Les, the tour guide, and said,
Well,
hey,
I didn't give
where are you
tours.
hiding them?
That's right. But, eventually the sticks and the tar and feathers are going to come out.
Right.
But,
why isn't he showing us why isn't he showing us any of the German brands?
Where's the other floor with all the other cars? There isn't one.
No. Well, we're going to have a floor with a car, and we'll review this one. This is the Buick Encore GX. Great little Buick. When we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine, stay tuned. Plenty more.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson, and we are glad you're with us. A lot going on, and we have an at-the-wheel review. This time, it is the 2024 Buick Encore GX. Small little Buick, made in Korea. Believe it or not, Buick is the most affordable brand in the GM lineup right now. Not Chevy, Buick.
That's amazing. Just amazing.
And so we thought we'd take a look at this vehicle. New for 2024, well, it's got what they call the virtual cockpit, which is a couple of flat screens behind glass. We'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. And it is powered by a turbo 3-cylinder, Les. This one has you can get a 1.2 turbo i3 at 137 is the 137 horsepower is the standard engine, or a 1.3 liter 3-cylinder 155 horsepower engine. That's what we got. And this was all-wheel drive, so power flows through a 9-speed automatic transmission, and we're going to kind of delve into this all a little bit more. But a small SUV kind of reminded me of the Ford EcoSport in certain ways, if you've been in that. Some of the controls are familiar that you would have seen in other Buicks and other GM products throughout the years, and others are different. But the virtual cockpit, I was not crazy about it. It looks very plain. As you can see, it is a small screen behind a glass panel. And at night, it just looked very, very plain to me. I think the graphics could be improved. Storage is decent. Nice thing, it does have a compact spare and jack, which is good to see on this vehicle. 1.3 liter turbo, 3-cylinder, did the job fine. I felt it was well designed and well tuned with that 9-speed automatic. It drove fine for what it was. Not going to be a hot rod, but this was the ST package. It gives you some piano black trim on the outside. It also gives you some black wheels. A little bit sportier, kind of a high-riding vehicle. On the outside, I thought it looked sort of like, if you squint and stand on one leg, the DBX 707, especially in the front, the Aston Martin SUV. I like the styling on the outside, and I like the color, which in this case was kind of that burnt orange. They call it copper ice, actually. But I thought that was an interesting combination. A color that's a color we were talking earlier about how it can change in the sunlight, and certain times it looked very, very orange, and other times it looked kind of a little less orange. Let's put it that way. So let's go through this. Outside styling is great, as I said. Looks like a quality piece. It is the Sport Touring all-wheel drive model. Ours, as I said, was copper ice metallic, ebony. Interior's ebony with ebony accents. 1.3 liter turbo, 9-speed. Does real well. Overall crash score is 5 stars, which is great. On the inside, it's the materials and that are fine, but it's a little plain. A lot of black plastic, a lot of black upholstery. Of course, there's the new Buick logo for 2024. You see it on the steering wheel, and you see it in the front of the vehicle. I love the overhead view monitor. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto still, although GM's going to eliminate those. Wireless charger, good connectivity. Here's what I like: a button for hitting all-wheel drive, and then it shows you are in all-wheel drive. Easy to use controls for heated steering wheel, heated seats. Out back, decent. You sit up high in the back. Decent leg room. Not a lot going on. A little connectivity for rear seat passengers in the form of a USB and USB-C. Looks like you can also get a power port if you want. Plain interior. The virtual cockpit, I don't think it was a win, frankly, because it's 2 small screens behind a piece of glass, and the graphics look very plain. You get a couple of different gauge settings. Both of them look pretty plain to me, and when you see that little square at night, it just looks very blank on the dashboard. Storage is good. There's no power port in the back or anything like that, but as I mentioned, there is a jack and a spare tire, which is always good. I always look on all our reviews because you want to find that out. Under hood, it looks like, a 3-cylinder engine. You don't really know it's a 3-cylinder. It could certainly be a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but doesn't sound any different. Performs well, 9-speed automatic. By the way, this comes with a 3-year, 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper limited warranty, 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain limited warranty with roadside assistance and courtesy transportation, which first maintenance visit, whichever comes first. See Buick.com for details. Start-stop system, which worked fairly well. And the infotainment system is an 11-inch diagonal HD color touchscreen. That part of it worked well. I like that. Wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, at least for now, until GM moves away from that. Capless fuel fill, nice to see. Few little surprises here and there. The base price is $28,400, and then ours added a $1,695 Experience Buick package with a power moonroof, the 19-inch gloss wheels, the comfort package with remote vehicle starter system, 8-way power seat for the driver, heated steering wheel, driver and front passenger heated seats, seat back front passenger flat folding, which is very nice. That's a touch of the vibe there. And the advanced technology package for $1,095 added adaptive cruise control, HD surround vision, wireless charging. We popped for the Bose premium speaker system for $500 more. The copper ice metallic, $495. Black roof package, which was $395. And it was not equipped with rear park assist, so there's a $145 credit, which is probably due to supply shortages yet, which is interesting to see that in 2024.
How was the ride?
Ride wasn't real choppy. I mean, it is a short wheelbase vehicle, so you're saddled with a little bit of that, but it wasn't objectionable. My neck didn't hurt after driving it. It does look like it rides pretty high. There's a lot of space above those wheels, over the tires, between the wheel well and the tire. But it did not have a rough ride. It wasn't super powerful. And on the inside, it just felt a little, well, not high-end. I'll say that. I think the exterior looks more high-end than the interior. The assembly point is Korea. South Korea. Engine is from United States. Transmission from United States. So what do I like about it? I like the great crash rating on it. Fuel economy, highway 28, combined, city 26, combined 27. That's not super great for this vehicle. I would like to see it in the low 30s, but I like the exterior styling. I like the crash rating. The room was okay on the inside. I felt it should be a little bit higher end for the price. By the way, total tested price $35,025. I see what they're trying to do with that dash panel, but it just looked very plain to me. I don't know. I didn't find that as a plus, but I'm afraid a lot of manufacturers are going that way. Anyway, that is the 2024 Encore GX Sport Touring All-Wheel Drive Edition. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road. Take care.